We're looking at the social enterprise topic for the first time this morning. It's the first presentation of 4. But before we begin, can I ask, what do these words mean to you? Social and enterprise. Is there another word we could use for social?
Relationship.
It is a relationship between other people in our community. Relationship, community, even family could be considered a social unit. What's another word for enterprise? Or what does enterprise mean to you?
It's something companies do.
Very good. So a company is another word for enterprise. In Japan, an alternative phrase to social enterprise is the word or phrase social business. Have you ever heard of social business in Japanese?
Yes, we use the katakana word, social business.
We have 2 main aims today. Number 1, to understand the various definitions of social enterprise. Number 2, to look at the history and some early examples of social enterprise. So we'll start off by defining what social enterprise means. You suggest it's to do business to benefit the community, and that's exactly what it is. Social enterprise believe you can make a profit while also doing good for the world. Doing good comes in many different shapes. It could be turning rubbish into building materials. So what's the difference between a social enterprise and a charity? This is an important question. A charity relies on donations and volunteers. On the other hand, a social enterprise runs like a business. We'll look at this slide, which has a very simple text explanation of the differences between a social enterprise, a more traditional business, and a charity. A social enterprise can generate profit but may also rely on donations or sponsors. But it must be financially sustainable, and the focus is on creating a positive social impact. So this slide tells us, dun dun dun, breaking news. There is no one universally agreed or legal definition of social enterprise, but you still need to understand what is meant by social enterprise. Yikes, that's a challenge. So what are we saying here? We're saying that social enterprise is just a set of words. It doesn't have any legal meaning. Nobody owns the definition. Nobody can tell you this is social enterprise and this is not. But it means that doing social enterprise is flexible. But let's look at the UK definition of social enterprise. After all, we're going to explain that this is where social enterprise really began. And this is the definition from the UK government's Department of Trade and Industry. I want you to look at this sentence here. Surpluses are principally reinvested for the purpose. Let's call that the mission. Surpluses are principally reinvested. What do you think that means? When we say mainly, if we were to say a percentage, would that be 1%, 51%, or 100%, do you think? Let's look at the USA definition of social enterprise. And we borrow this definition from the Social Enterprise Alliance, which is the membership organization for American social enterprises. There's something missing from this definition when you compare it with the UK definition. Can you tell me what's missing? There's no mention of, for example, what percentage of profits need to be used for the social mission. There's no mention of what percentage of profits should be used for social objectives. Can I ask you, which definition do you like the best? Even in America, there's an alternative definition to this one. And here's the alternative. Forbes. Forbes is a business magazine, and it's based in the United States also. And their definition is as follows. A social enterprise is an enterprise where at least 50% of the profits are invested back into a charitable cause. The aim is to have a social mission and to make a social impact. Do you think it's difficult? For example, if you wanted to start a coffee shop after graduating from high school and you have to borrow money from the bank to start the coffee shop, you're not sure, will it be a success? You don't even know if you're going to make a profit. Would you start your coffee shop as a social enterprise? There is another definition of social enterprise, and this comes from a man who you could describe as the godfather of social enterprise. His name is Muhammad Yunus. He's from Bangladesh, and we'll learn a lot more about him in the social enterprise presentations. But for now, let's look at his definition. He actually prefers the phrase social business. He says it should be a non-loss, non-dividend company dedicated entirely to achieving a social goal. How do you feel about that definition? Exactly, and he says that it's a choice. Choosing to make a profit is a choice, just like choosing to forego the profit and use the profits for charity. It's like everything. It's a choice. If you go for a coffee, you have a decision to make. You can support a social enterprise coffee shop, or you can support a large chain coffee shop. So there are two questions I'm going to ask. Would having an agreed definition of social enterprise change anything? I love the strict definitions, but I know that if I started a business tomorrow, I would struggle to meet the criteria. Do you think it's okay to be fuzzy like sustainable? It's an interesting argument, and it's one that we won't solve today, but we need to consider it. We're getting there, we're slowly getting there, we're beginning to understand that it's okay to make a profit while you have a social mission. If you started a business in the morning, what definition would you sign up to? Interesting. How would you feel if you didn't make profit for the first 5 years and you identified as a social enterprise, so you gave 0% to the social mission? How would that make you feel? Okay, here's a question for Chihiro. How can you support social enterprises? There's 4 choices. Do you think that social enterprise should be able to give profit to their shareholders as well as their cause? They're the people who invest and put their money in the social enterprise, and in most cases, shareholders invest money so that they can receive more money from the profits of a business. So do you think that social enterprises should be able to give profit to their shareholders as well as their cause? That's a very balanced response. I like your response. You're saying that as long as the primary mission, the social mission, is being met, then if there is surplus profit to share with the shareholders, you would be happy to do it. So now we're going to look at what social enterprise is not. That's an unusual approach, but some people get confused and they think that, for example, corporate social responsibility is the same as social enterprise. And we're here to tell you it's not the same. Companies that have CSR also decide to use some of their profits for good, but profit is the main focus. And let's skip to the second paragraph, and I'm going to read this. Traditional CSR activities are often reduced to reputation-enhancing public relations. Now this sounds a little cynical, but these words are not my words. These are the words of the CEO of BP, British Petroleum, a large company. And the CEO has said that in his view, CSR has been reduced to a box-ticking exercise. Do you think that's true? I'm sure there are some companies who are doing wonderful work through their corporate social responsibility programs, but it is not the same as making the social mission the primary focus, because the companies are still focused on maximizing profit. So, of course, they can still do good with their money, but that is not their main reason for being in business. The third one in our series of what social enterprise is not. This one is quite new and may not have reached Japan yet, but it's called CEO activism. when senior business leaders speak out on social issues that are not directly related to their bottom line. This is especially popular in the USA, and the motivations may range from personal opinion or in convincing employees and or customers to trust that company's core values. And this is called CEO activism. And more, the people who are at the top of business are giving their opinions, are influencing people on issues, social issues, such as race, gender and immigration. And in one study, 33% of consumers in India, 45% in Italy, and 61% of consumers in Brazil said they thought companies should take a stand on controversial issues. What do you think about that? Would you encourage a CEO of a company, for example, the head of Toyota? Should the head of Toyota speak out about transgender toilets or the immigration of foreign workers into Japan? This is a timeline. I cannot say that we know exactly when social enterprise began, because social enterprise has no legal definition. But this is more or less a roadmap, a good roadmap to give you an idea when and where social enterprise evolved. So we'll start here in the year 1844. We'll start in the UK, and then we'll cross the sea to America in 1902, and then we'll go further to India in 1951, and in 1983 we'll go to Bangladesh, back to the USA, and back to Muhammad Yunus. And this little timeline tells you all you need to know about where social enterprise has come from. So we'll start in 1844. In a small town in northern England called Rochdale, 28 workers pooled their resources to buy food, flour, oatmeal, sugar and butter at a lower price. They then decided to resell all those food products, and they allowed their customers to become members in what became really the world's first cooperative movement. And we're going to wrap up this lesson with some quick summary notes. For hundreds of years, for centuries, the business world has divided private business into two categories: for-profit and non-profit. Social enterprise is a hybrid. It's both for-profit and it's non-profit. Thankfully, since the 1970s, thanks to Muhammad Yunus, the concept of social enterprise has really grown, and everybody thinks it's positive. Nobody thinks it's negative. And lots of big companies are attempting to change their identity to associate with social enterprise. And that's a problem. So now we have some really easy questions. Hey, you were listening. Well done. You were awake, even though it's late in Japan. So we're going to end it there, but I'm going to suggest, if the topic is of interest, that you get a book written by Muhammad Yunus. He has written several books, but this is probably the most popular one, Building Social Business. So that is the beginning of social enterprise.